Okay, guys, now we are live. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of AC Capital Finance Live. And today we're having some very special guests here. So they are all actually from like music NFT or music social Web3 platforms. I mean, guys, everyone love music, right? Like everyone definitely like enjoy listening to music. And like it's basically for me, it's like everyday things. I open my laptop and like start my Spotify things like that, and start enjoying the music. But in Web3, we are doing it in a completely different way. We're doing it in a new way, and that's just like a more exciting and it's more fascinating to the end users. So today we're gonna introduce them, and let's just listen to their stories. So for our guest today, we have Stephanie from MetaBeat. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you here.
And we also have Beyond Nicholas from ROCKI.
Hi guys, great to be here. Excited to have this conversation.
And finally, we have Alex from Melody.
Hi guys, I'm very excited to participate in this event. I'm Alex from Melody.
Awesome. All right, guys. Why not just like we start with some self-introduction so everyone knows what you guys are doing, like what everyone's up to. So let's start from Stephanie.
Okay. MetaBeat, I lead the MetaBeat team. MetaBeat is a fan-to-earn community platform to reward, powered by fan activities and rewards for their contributions. So the K-pop phenomenon was actually made by the fandoms, and the fans put it, and their word of mouth marketing is the most effective tool for the artists. However, fans actually don't receive any benefits, not monetary ones anyhow, for their value-added contributions. Metaverse ecosystem is built to recognize the value-added contributions by the fan community and reward them for participating in the marketing effect of the artist and also supporting the artist. And we support and we back up this fan community with real assets being the music IPs. We back up the community with the music IPs so they receive rewards continuously while they are growing with the artist. So MetaBit our platform is going live next month in September. And we hope to build a space where all the music fan community come and participate in supporting their artists and receive rewards and have more of ownership and power of the fan community to grow with the artists. That's our objective. And so we're more like a music socialify platform.
That's pretty interesting. Like this is actually a good idea for using music as like a social instrument. So I saw this kind of like a ideas for music social. It's like so like different people have different like taste of the music, right? Like you're like a
Right.
rock and roll fan, I'm like a K-pop or whatever.
Right.
So like people want to find like-minded people. So that's basically
Right.
how you can do the socials together, right? So yeah, so that's going to be very interesting because if you like you can own your like own music collections and you can show the communities in general, say, hey, this is my collection, right? Like if you also own a piece of ACDC or Aerosmith or something like that, and they come to me, right? Like let's chat. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, music fans, they like to show their love to the artist. So listen to this music or the photos of the artist, and they're very active on the social media channels. And, music listeners, the listeners are actually the dominant player in the life cycle of music IP. but they don't get any benefits for the values they bring into the music IP. So that's why we are backing the fan community with the music IP, so they actually have more ownership on, the music that they listen to and the artists they support.
No, that's pretty awesome initiative. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Stephanie. And next we have Bjorn from ROCKI. Hi, Bjorn. So, would you like to just give a brief introduction about what you guys are doing in ROCKI?
Yeah, thanks, Vincent. And first of all, really cool to learn about MetaBeat. I think what they're doing is super cool, and we are also doing something similar to try to engage the fans. But my name is Bjorn Niklas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ROCKI. I come from almost a 20-year background in the music industry. I was a music manager for a lot of big artists, and I traveled the world, and I met a lot of really cool musicians from all different levels. But what I realized very quickly is that it's very difficult to make it in the music industry, as the current models, many people say, is broken. The music industry is broken. Yes, it works really great for the 1% that pretty much takes 90% of the revenue from Spotify. But if you're in the 99% category, which is usually the independent music category, it's very difficult to earn revenue from online activities. You can make some money playing shows, of course, and live events, but most musicians make around $200 or less per year from Spotify. So clearly not something that you can base your music career on. So the goal with ROCKI was always to try to create a consumer-facing platform that created better value for musicians and their fans. So ROCKI focuses on a couple of different products. Our first product was basically a music NFT where musicians could issue their songs as collectibles. So instead of issuing a song on a record label and putting it on Spotify, where it's pretty much an all-you-can-eat buffet of free music that anyone can listen to. And don't get me wrong, I love Spotify. Like you said, Vincent, I have my different Spotify playlists that I use when I work, when I go to the gym, when I drive in the car. While they don't pay any money to musicians, they surely made an app that's really easy to use for us consumers. But we wanted to try to create better value. So what is the solution for all-you-can-eat buffet of free music that anyone can listen to for free anytime? And our solution was basically selling music as collectibles. So scarcity can create value, as we've seen in many crypto cases. So, for example, if a musician has a new song, maybe they wrote it during the pandemic, we built a very easy to use do-it-yourself protocol where the musician can upload their MP3, their artwork, their bio, their title, and decide the price, and of course how many copies of their song they would like to sell as a collectible. So let's say it's 50 copies, and each copy, let's say it's just $10. So instead of you going to Starbucks in the morning and getting a $8 latte, music fans can then instead buy 1 out of 50 collectible music NFT that is not available on Spotify. It's not available on YouTube. The only way for you to really enjoy this new song is if you own this NFT. And of course, if you take 50 times 10, that's pretty much double what most musicians make in a year from Spotify. So we launched in 2020 in October, and it's been going really great since then. We're one of the leading music NFT platforms on Binance chain. We've had, I think, close to 4,000 music NFTs minted and sold. And of course, a lot of them make more money in just one NFT drop than their yearly paycheck on Spotify. So that's kind of proved a model that, okay, there's no money to be made from Spotify, but if I issue my song as a collectible, I can now have a new revenue stream. So while we are not fixing the broken music industry, we have instead introduced an alternative, or maybe an addition to what you normally do as a musician. Because of course you maybe spend time building up your fan base on Spotify, or you have a deal with a label that you have to give them X amount of songs, but you probably have some other songs that you can use, that you can offer with a direct artist to fan relationship, and that way monetize in ways that wasn't possible before. Another cool thing that we have is, of course, music streaming. So we also focus on music streaming, where we have a model that we call streaming as mining. So it's basically a similar model as Spotify, but instead of earning fractions of a dollar when your song is being played, instead you earn fractions of a token. Our token that's called ROCKI. So it's a way for musicians to earn crypto by having their music being streamed. And then close to what Stephanie has, which is also super interesting, is, I totally agree. The fans of musicians, they always share and they always talk about their favorite artists. They go to their shows and concerts, and maybe they share on social media, but they have never been rewarded before. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to engage them because they're already doing this type of behavior. So why not try to get them in on the game with their favorite musician? So we have a model that we call listen to earn, which is basically a way for regular music fan to earn tokens, the ROCKI token, by listening to sponsored music. And the tokens come from the musicians themselves that earned it from the streaming as mining model. So let's say, Vincent, maybe in a month you earned 100 token as an example. You could decide to reinvest, let's say 50%, so 50 tokens back into the community. You're basically paying, let's say you want to pay one token to 50 people to listen to your song and also rate it. So there's a rating from 1 to 10 and also share on social media. So you can go on ROCKI in the sponsor section, and then you can see which songs are available to listen to as a sponsored payment model. So you can earn tokens by listening to new music. And the goal is, of course, that, Vincent, the musician, you just paid 50% of your tokens that you earned in a month, for example. But in return, you got 50 new fans because the people who listened to it, they all of a sudden discovered you. Maybe you play country music, and the people who listened to it, they were country music fans. So now you basically have a working multiplier where musicians can come into ROCKI, use the platform, earn some tokens, reinvest the tokens, and then enter on the other side with double the amount of fans, or maybe even triple. So it's a new way that we try to engage the fans to be a part of the whole ecosystem of ROCKI. So it should be really interesting to talk about what Stephanie is doing and how we see the landscape shaping up with, if we can access the incredible engaging fans around the world, we can really change the narrative, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, definitely. I believe this is a very interesting part. As far as I know, I'm not too sure if this is because I'm not from the music industry myself, but this is my observation. So music is not like gaming. So gaming is like, you can still buy the traffic by advertising, right, on like social media or something, but you never see many music artists are doing this. I buy the traffic I kind of expected that a conversion rate, and people just pay and listen to the music and and something like this. It's like you like it or not. It's just like one way or another, right? And most of the cases, it's actually through word of mouth. Especially in the cases for like indie music artists. So I remember when I was a kid, right? So I was like a huge fan of indie rock and like heavy metal or this kind of alternative rock and roll kind of stuff, right? So the only way to really discover this kind of thing, because this is so like long-tailed, like not the mainstream kind of stuff. So you have to discover this kind of music yourself. So it's usually like through the word of mouth on those kind of like a BBS, discussion board, or through what we use as like a kind of like a messenger groups or something like that. A group of fans like always throwing new shit into the oh, I discovered this kind of this stuff, or basically through this kind of like a live music festivals, right? Like some of the guest bands, and they say, oh, this is freaking awesome, right? Like so people start following them, things like that. So it's really about recommendation. It's really about like refer, like, okay, so one guy who can recommend the new music to the rest of the people. And once people fall in love with them, it's just a very long-term kind of a relationship. I never seen people like, oh, I like this music, but just for one day, right? It's just like, okay, I love this genre, and that's just forever kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the most common questions I would get when I was a music manager, when I was talking to new musicians up and coming, and I would ask them, what is the one thing that you want to achieve with your music career? And I would always get the same answer: is how do I reach more people with my music? And it's a simple question. How do I reach more people with my music? Yes, it's a simple question, but the answer is very, very difficult. Because even if I would give the kid $10,000 to do a campaign on Facebook to market his music, it's not going to work. You got algorithm against him, and you got competition. So it's like you said, Vincent, people will go to a festival, and then there's a band playing that you never heard about, but there's 10,000 people in the crowd, or whatever that is. They discover new music because they are there at this point in time. But how do you scale that? How do you build an engine that could provide the same thing? Because not everyone is lucky enough to be able to play on a festival for 10,000 people and walk out of there with 500 new fans. It's for a very few. So how do you build a model where you can try to capture the same growth mechanism using, of course, products and tools that can provide the same value there, that I can reinvest in something that helps me grow as a musician. More people discover me. Yes, in our case, it's because we pay you to discover, and we have seen that the model works. Of course, you're not gonna, if you are into country and there is a song that's heavy metal, of course you're not gonna like it. You're not gonna become a fan of that person. But a lot of times it's you're gonna pick music genres that you like, hoping that you're gonna discover something new that you're gonna be a fan for the rest of your life.
The interesting is, I think it's the music industry, K-pop industry specifically. I think it really works like a giant corporation. It's a very business, and it's very structured and organized. That even K-pop artists, they are trained for like 10 years before they actually make a debut. And during their training years, they start building their fandom base already. Before they even start their career, they start interacting with fans, and start making fandom base. So by the time they actually make the debut, they already have huge followers. So and this only, as Beyond previously said, this only has if you become the trainee of the label company or the entertainment company, and having that opportunity is very difficult. It's like 1 out of 1,000 kids that wants to be a singer. So the opportunity is also quite limited for the new artists and talented artists. And also, I think it's going forward, as Björn was mentioning, that carrying and also increasing that fandom, your fandom base, and because you need to continue to increase the exposure. And I think that increasing that fandom base and growing together with your fan community, I think now is more on the collective value that artists and fans create together. That you need to give more values to that than the other players also have the value in it. But I think the major players in this industry are the actually artists and their listeners and their fan community. So that's why actually MetaBeat, that's where MetaBeat started from. That we wanted to benefit all stakeholders, because label company or the IP holders also benefit from our business model. but mostly it's the fan community that who receive the benefits. So they have more power and ownership to get involved in supporting the artist, or doing marketing for, or um, showing their love for the artist. I like to say their all their fan activities, it adds value, it adds more value to it. And for that's what, like, for us, and but I think but before, I wanted to sort of, one thing that we also paid attention to is, and to create this, I think it can be, I think Beyond has been very successful with this platform for last 2 years, but I am sure it was not very easy at first to build the ground, because uh, bringing in the retail users, the vendors, is not very easy. Bring them into the crypto space is not very easy. So there is definitely a barrier for bringing the retail, just the music listeners to the crypto space. And also, I think there is, to give them, to have to bring them over, and also to give them power. I think there needs to be some sort of bridge between the Web2, the music industry, and where we want to go. And I think there's sort of like 2.5 model, 2.5 model to have a more business backup and the power behind it. And that's why we, MetaBeat, we work with, under a partnership with 9 different entertainment companies here in Korea, and we have access to 4,000 music IPs to back up the fan community, and we'll continue to increase that by reinvesting our earnings, to take obtaining more IPs. And I look at this as sort of kind of 2.5 model until we give the complete governance to the fan community. They need the support and sort of backup. And once that's, I think, established, I think we can have a lot more interesting and opportunities open up for the artists and the fan community. And I think Beyond has done a great job building that ground, making the foundation for the music platforms in last 2 years.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Hey, Vincent, go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome, man. Thank you for your introduction. And I feel like this is a very interesting thing. Is Web3 community building is probably the closest kind of comparison or analogy to like a music artist and fan community building. In a way, you can't just advertise to attract traffic, and hoping that you can convert some of them, but you have to really build a kind of like a community spirit among the members of the community. It's exactly so basically it's pretty much the same kind of a situation for as in Web3, and also in like indie music or like a music artist, the kind of fan community building. And just like Stephanie said, this is actually a pretty pretty exciting kind of leap from Web2 to Web3, like in terms of like a user's journey, because you have to be equipped with like a much like a Web3 kind of a user knowledge to actually use the Web3 kind of a technology to actually unlock the Web3 user experience. So this would actually come to the user onboarding and user like education part, which is very, very important. So I would like to move on to Alex from Melody. Hey Alex, so can you give us some brief introduction about what you guys are doing? I heard that you guys are taking a very interesting approach to build your music lover kind of community.
Sure. Very excited to hear so much from Stephanie and John about their exciting project. And actually, we are building Melody. Melody is a Web3 music content creation platform that integrates GameFi, SocialFi, and we value creating, and the value will be turned into cash for sure in the future. Melody allows our users to add a little flavor to their lives by singing in their spare time, and it's a common form of entertainment and enables our users to earn extra income. Professional singers, content creators can let people know more about themselves uh, uh, through melody. Everyone could immerse themselves in the world of music comfortably and happily on melody. Melody uses the simplest gameplay to attract our users who love to sing, and artists who love to create, and singers who want to be stars. We aim to make the largest user-generated content platform in Web3 through user play and creativity on the platform. We build on this UGC generated UGC to bring as many users as possible into our world of melody music. On our platform, anyone can position themselves very well. If you can sing, then you can become a high quality content creator. If you prefer listening, you can find any kind of works you like to listen. If you want to have more fun and get more economic value, you can get into karaoke room and listening and literally uh, get high in our karaoke mode and earn incomes at the same time. And there are many ways to play in our app. Currently, we have a singing mode, listening mode, and karaoke mode. Users can participate in the game by purchasing microphones, headphones, and karaoke room NFTs to participate in those activities. Or in the future, we will have a live music concert online. And at the same time, our users can also follow, like, comment, and reward their favorite works or UGC creators. And at the same time, the users can get generous income through sing to earn, listen to earn, and karaoke to earn. And they will be rewarded. As Vincent just mentioned, that the long-tailed condition of current music industry, we will take advantage of AI system to recommend these music works to the right users and allowing our users find their favorite music and creators and allow the creators to be connected with their right audiences. Yeah, that's our mission and what we are building.
That's pretty awesome. Actually, I realized, and so about like 13 years ago. So when I went to Australia. So beforehand, I was like, oh, I thought that karaoke it was a very Chinese or very Japanese or very Korean kind of stuff, right? Like probably only this is kind of like special culture for the Eastern Asia people. And I went to Australia. I realized, okay, so maybe I was wrong, because I saw many karaoke's in Sydney and in Melbourne, and even the Caucasian guys, like white guys, they even go to karaoke. I guess they definitely have their own songs to sing. I even saw Russian guys over there, but definitely singing in a karaoke, like drinking with friends. This kind of stuff is definitely not only limited to East Asia kind of a culture. Especially when I talk to my Filipino friends, and they in Manila, they love karaoke a lot. And like last year, I asked them, so what kind of like X to earn kind of model you guys would expect the most, right? Like apart from Axie Infinity, apart from like a GameFi kind of a model, play to earn, what you guys would be expecting the most? They all tell me, okay, this is going to be sing to earn. They all like like amateur kind of singing lovers. No matter how good are they, but they just love it, right? If there's anyone who can build something that can allow them to sing and to earn, to doesn't even matter like how much they can earn from it, right? Like they would love it. There's definitely a market for it. So that's pretty interesting that you guys actually wrote out this idea.
Thank you. Actually, social property is a very important property for our platform. Karaoke mode. Karaoke is a very good way for people to interact with each other, especially for people who love to sing. They are not necessary to be very professional. People love to sing. They can just enjoy themselves through this kind of way.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, thank you for your introduction, Alex. Okay, guys, and next, let's move on to the next live question sessions. I think this is going to be pretty fun. So our first question here is, so basically, like everyone knows that, in the music has been like very fundamental kind of elements for the entire internet user experience already for many years, right? Just like people think about like internet and then think about like online music, it's just as natural as as using Google or using YouTube or things like that, right? So that means Web2 platforms, they have already provided a lot of like this kind of like a user experience, this kind of stuff to meet the need by the end users. So as a Web3 platform, what do you do differently, or what distinguish your platform from your Web2 counterpart? Yep, that's a question. I think start with Stephanie.
Yes, I think we have Barnaby on board. Hello. Okay. I'll start. Oh, hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Barnaby.
Apologies for being late.
Hi, Barnaby.
Yeah, no worries. Barnaby is from. So Barnaby, would you like to just make a quick self-introduction about yourself and the project?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Barnaby Anderson. I'm the co-founder of Band Royalty and Band NFTs. We're a music platform for music NFTs, as the name would suggest. And we've built that so that there's two parts to the operation. One is to actually bring music royalties and make the ability for the average person to be able to benefit from that kind of income stream that is derived from the playing of music for music royalties, which most people don't really understand. So we wanted to educate the market about how music royalties work. And the other half is a platform, Band NFTs, where musicians can launch an NFT to their fan base and derive that kind of income that has been missing in their lives because of the streaming services. So basically, we see the opportunity in music NFTs to bring a whole new kind of product to market for musicians to earn from. So that's we've been built, and we started that project about 18 months ago. We launched it last year in 2021, beginning of last year. And we've just kept on growing. We've had the first dozen artists, and we're the first platform, as we understand it, to have a multi-song music NFT. So you could put a whole album there with multiple tracks and play them. And it's interoperable with Ethereum, like on OpenSea and other platforms as well. And my background is about 30 years in technology, in e-commerce, and the last 6 or so years in blockchain. So that's our background.
Fantastic. Thank you for your introduction. That's fairly quick and clean, Barnaby. All right, yeah, let's come back to the questions. Let me just reiterate it. So basically, our first question here is, so as music has been having a long history with internet, right? So there are definitely like a lot of Web2 websites already provided this kind of a music user experience. So how would you, as a Web3 platform, differentiate yourself from your Web2 counterparts? yeah, starting with Stephanie.
Okay. I think Web3, with everyone here on the panel today, I think we'll probably agree that Web3 definitely shifts the power dynamics from the platforms to the artists and the fan community. So the fan community and the artists take, they lead and have ownership in the collective value they create. So I think that's what many people are interested in the Web3 space is that this dynamic, the power shift in this with the Web3 is, I think, where everyone is trying to make the connection between the direct connections to benefit the artists and the fan community that they deserve. But I think we are still at a very infant stage, actually, that there will be a gradual learning process also involved until we that we find the balance that will create the sustainability to rise in the space of Web3. So I think many of music platforms on the Web3 space is creating new opportunities for the artists and the fan communities, and still to sort of figure out ways to do a better service. And also, I think the key question is scale up. And as we previously said, also bring in that non-crypto experience users onto the Web3 space is, I think, one of the key challenges they will face.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So, how about your thoughts on Beyond?
Well, I think Web 2 is traditionally people are accustomed to pay with a debit or a credit card for their monthly subscriptions or for buying MP3s on the internet. And if you look back in time, it took actually a really long time before people were comfortable with giving out their credit card on the internet. I think it was luckily we had PayPal that kind of provided a gap to get people to feel secure about giving out their credit card on the internet. But obviously, we at ROCKI, we did a lot with music NFTs and also royalty NFTs on ROCKI. And for that, you need to have a wallet. You need to be able to have a little bit of cryptocurrency in order to pay for the small amount of minting cost, even though it's only a few cents on Binance chain and the minting cost. So I think one big difference is that you typically need to have a little bit of a crypto or blockchain experience to be able to set up your wallet, to be able to have some sort of crypto funds available to pay minting costs. If that's on a user is dabbling into OpenSea, paying that cost in Ethereum, or they're using ROCKI and they're paying that in BNB. There is, of course, a little bit of new technology for non-crypto, non-blockchain musicians to learn. Luckily, I think we all can agree that it's fairly simple to set up a MetaMask, et cetera, but it's still new. And I think if you look at the adoption rate on musicians and music NFTs, we're still so early in the game compared to where we think it's going to go. So I think as crypto and blockchain becomes more and more of a household name, people are more and more accustomed to setting up wallets and using various exchanges, etc. I think we can see kind of a quicker adoption of Web3 kind of technologies for the music industry.
Awesome. Next up to Alex.
Yeah, actually for Melody, it's a music platform supported by the UGC mode. Actually, all of the content created by the creators are valuable in itself, and it can bring revenue and media influence revenue to itself on every social platform, literally. And we will attract our users who are active in GameFi and gradually shift out core users through the fan economy model. And our economy model will basically be divided into two-stage: platform payment UGC1 and user payment UGC2 era. We might develop into UGC3 that in some form we don't know, but we will try to explore. As Bijuan just mentioned, that we are still in a very early age or early era. The ultimate goal for us is to achieve low platform payment and even zero platform payment while maintaining the rapid growth, so we can let our users and creators on our platform to realize their own dream and find their values on our platform. And another part for Melody is we are trying to allow our users to make profits for both creators and common users naturally and easily. And our another goal is to allow the content to spread healthily under the protection of copyright. People can easily publish their work without worrying too much about the copyright things. And this is very important of our work. And this will help us to attract more creators and enable them to focus on the creating part instead of worrying too much about a lot of legal things. And I think that's the main contradiction or the problem for creators and for those musicians and record companies. So we want to solve this kind of problem and enable those musicians to easily protect their own work and make profits easily through our platform. And yeah, I think that's pretty much for us. And another part, actually, I forgot to mention that another part for us is we really value the interaction between users and common users and creators. So the social property is a very important feature on our platform, and we'd like to bring the real audience to the creators and bring the creators to their audience. So social feature will enable our platform or our users to enjoy themselves and find their values through the music on our platform. Yeah, that's pretty much about us.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. And finally, to Barnaby. What is your thought? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Vincent. So just going back to the mid-90s and Web 1, when it was really about like a read only. So it was a passive experience. That was how, when I first started building websites from 95 onwards, that's how we would characterize it. So when Web 2 came along, looking at the evolution, it became interactive. So it was really about the users, the participants now being involved in the creation of material, user-generated content, and also community. So really it was about community interaction and the generating of content. That was Web 2. So then what would be Web 3? So the first one was extremely passive, and that was when we first saw the beginning of playing of music. The second one became about anybody could publish now. So you could easily publish your music and your material, but it was still connected to the world of fiat, the world of dollars and traditional monetary systems. That's how Web 1 and Web 2. So Web 3 is actually about the integration of value itself into the internet, which is a very peculiar concept for most people. And that's why blockchain and crypto still has not taken off yet, because it's a strange idea that the very fabric of electronic media itself is the value. That's a very strange thing. So now we're talking about the economic instruments of value and exchange and trading being the media itself. And that's quite a leap. And so I see that it's enabling anybody, an artist in this reference, to realize that the media they've created is now a tradable instrument, pardon the pun, unto itself. And so I think that is going to be have a large effect, obviously, throughout the industry. But as everybody said, this is just the beginning, as people are beginning to cotton onto this. And it's quite a jump. And it's very empowering for all those who are participating, because not only is the artist able to make a new revenue stream, but at the same time, they're teaching their fan base, this is how you can use this entirely new form of value and money. And that's also going to have wide repercussions.
Cool. Thank you for the explanation, Barnaby. That's very insightful. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next question. So, you guys have talked about the the creator economy, and also like what kind of changes that basically you can bring to the existing kind of user experience, or basically the very proposition of the music industry connected with the internet, right? So my next question would be, what kind of conditions? Because basically, like you guys said, that Web3 for music is still very it's still in its infancy kind of stage, right? It's still very early, right? So what do you envision for the success of this kind of a Web3 music vision? If it wants to be successful, then what would be the the conditions or prerequisites for the Web3 music narrative to be successful? Let's start with some Stephanie Kane.
Okay. What makes it successful? A condition to be successful. That's actually a very difficult question, and that's as I think I can only speak of MetaBeat about ourselves. I don't know what's the precondition for all Web3 music platforms. It's that I can only speak of as for us, as we actually start this journey and as we join the Web3 music industry. For us, actually, the importance was on the ecosystem, that we build an ecosystem that based on we built the ecosystem based on a value sharing economy that represents a fair distribution of power and benefits for all stakeholders. So I think because before the point that we paid attention to was the shift of power was too much on the institutions, the entities, or the giant platforms, the distributors, the label companies. But we wanted to shift that power and have a fair distribution for others who are putting in the value, putting in the value in this music value chain. So I think for us was to have that ecosystem that have represent this fine balance. It will bring the sustainability and will rise in this Web3 music industry. And also prerequisite for another one that was important for us was actually how we'll overcome the challenge of bringing not just the retail listeners onto the crypto space, but our goal is to bring 50 million, 1 billion, all the K-pop, huge global K-pop fandom onto our platform. So how will we bring 1 billion global K-pop fans on our platform and do as they used to do their fan activities and then support and get involved in and participate and get involved in supporting their artists. So I think for us to make this transition, how we make this transition easy and that we lower the barrier for them, because the K-pop fandom or this huge global fandoms are very much on the Web 2 space, or Web 2 space. And it is probably because this K-pop industry is led by the giant institutions. So we are sort of bringing that over, not by having the art bring the not by bringing the sort of changing the dynamics between the label companies or artists. I think we paid more attention of bringing the fan base over and make that transition easy, and bring that crowd over. So because I think they are actually the leading power, that lead the listeners are the leading power in the music industry, and have create a sort of different new community environment and space. So I think that's the sort of precondition for us to, is I guess in sound, a strong and well balanced ecosystem with the with the easy transition that will lower the barrier for the retail users to come, leap over to the crypto space or leap over to the Web3 space.
Okay, fantastic. Now, next, Bjorn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very easy answer, in my opinion. It's basically mainstream adoption. It's making it as easy as the current landscape, which is anybody on the planet can download Spotify, set up an account, and listen to music for free. Without being an expert in any type of technology. That's just how we are trained now. But setting up a wallet, obtaining crypto, or maybe reselling in an NFT, or buying pieces of royalty as an NFT, or even buying concert tickets as an NFT, typically requires a little bit of crypto or blockchain experience. And I think there's a lot of people who think it's difficult, and I think we are far from mainstream adoption. But I think when that happens, that's of course when I think the rise of Web3 music would really happen, when we can basically be as easy to use as listening to a song on SoundCloud, or streaming music from Spotify, or watching a music video on YouTube. So that's kind of my answer.
That's very insightful, Bjorn.
Thanks.
Next, Alex.
Yeah, actually, from my point of view, it's very similar to what Stephanie just mentioned, that of course users are the most important part of this industry, and we need to introduce our Web2 users into Web3. So more people are involved in Web3 is very important for us to acquire our users for all the Web3 music platform. And so we need to think about how we can lower the bar for more people to access Web3 music. And this is also what we are trying to solve through Melody, to let more people enjoy music and enjoy the way how they can earn or they can find their favorite work through Web3. So that's the point we are trying to attract Web2 users to Web3. And so for currently, Web2 is very mature, and people who are just purely enjoy music is very hard to transfer from Web2 to Web3. So we need the whole ecosystem to attract those users into Web3. So a better ecosystem is very important for the whole Web3 music industry. And like the technology and people's cognition for copyright or power of creation. And we also need the whole industry to do marketing, promotion, and those kind of things. And the most important part is we can really solve some problem that Web2 cannot solve. That's the way we differentiate Web3 from Web2 and shape it into a point that can attract our users. Yeah, that's pretty much about my thoughts on this question.
Awesome. And finally, Barnaby.
Yeah, it's a great question about what's it going to take to move the needle. And our focus at Band Royalty, Band NFTs is with the artists, because essentially that's why we've built this. Is we see them as the major influencers in the space. And actually, you could even say that there's not been mass adoption yet of crypto at all. It's still very small, and even much more so for NFTs. There's less than 1.5 million people worldwide that even own an NFT. So NFT penetration is still so minor. And the influencers, being the musicians and the artists that people love, well, once they educate and give a compelling reason to their fan base, then that's what's going to really move the needle. And yes, as everybody else has said, we need to have easier on-ramps. We need to make the technology seamless. We need to make the blockchain and the wallets even kind of disappear as such. So it just becomes a seamless experience for everyone. But really, it's going to be about the artists making it fun and exciting and educational with multiple utilities that actually make a difference to people's lives. So really, that's the thing. It's going to be, wow, here's this utility. This NFT is getting me a backstage pass, a front row seat, private access on a Zoom, private special concert tickets, etc. All these different abilities, as well as just being a digital collectible, which then, once people start experiencing the trading of those songs as instruments and people start making money, it will become viral. So we're really at this inception stage of teaching people about how they can actually derive revenue, both as a fan and as an artist, from an entirely new kind of product where you can trade it 24/7 all around the world. That's never happened before. It's a totally new kind of category, and it's going to take some getting used to. It's going to take some time. You know, Bitcoin's been around for 13 years, and how many people have got Bitcoin yet? However, it's quite possible that as music has led the way with every other major innovation in technology in the last couple of decades, it's quite likely that music NFTs could move the needle for crypto adoption as being the main spearhead to get people on board.
Yeah, that's an awesome insight, and cool. Let's move on to the final question here. If you like, just with one keyword, right? What would you summarize the change, like the key change that Web3 would bring on to the music industry? Starting with Stephanie.
Yes. In one sentence, summary of my one sentence, I think I would say with Web3, the artists and the community will lead the paradigm, and the technology is here to provide whatever the options they choose to have. And I think there can be very many creative ways to connect the artists and the fan community in Web3. And I think at the end of the day, artists and the fan community will actually lead the paradigm. And platforms like us will probably, answer to their needs and provide the technology or the means to meet their needs. It wasn't one sentence answer, was it? Sorry.
No. That's
Yeah, I
completely
wanted to finish it, like find one sentence, like give the headline.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Cool. Yeah. Beyond, how about you? Beyond, you're muted.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're
Sorry,
muted.
I was sorry about that. Yeah, I think the answer is pretty simple. Participation, just as Stephanie said, and also Barnaby, with NFTs, whether that's music or royalty or tickets or backstage passes or having exclusive content with private Zooms or whatever. It's the type of access and participation that we have never had before in Web2 or in the traditional music industry. So that's kind of what we're excited about, being able to provide those opportunities that weren't there before.
Awesome. So next on Alex.
Okay, I would make it into a phrase, maybe like the way of artists, how artists work. The way of how artists work will be changed totally by Web3, I think. So, so currently, I think the Web3 will change the relationship between artists and label companies. Like for currently, label companies take away a large portion of the profits from all the artists' work, even those famous ones. And independent artists struggles with marketing or promotion. They cannot easily access those, or you can easily cooperate with those label companies. And Web3, by the technology, could save a lot of energy for those artists on managing copyright, marketing, and the platform will help them to do the promotion. So the way would be changed for the artists to collaborate with like current or the traditional entertainment companies. And Web3 will also enrich the way of making profits for those artists with their music works and reduce the cost for artists to publish their work and help the independent musician realize their dream. So the way of how they work will be totally changed, or the way they're thinking about how to promote their work will be totally changed. And they will have more time to focus on creating instead of the marketing or management part. So that's what I would say about the change.
All right. Thank you, Alex, for sharing. And finally, Barnaby, what is your opinion on what is your keyword for the change for that Web3 is bringing about to music industry?
Well, at Band, we see the real potential for the artists to reclaim their power, reclaim their value, much of which has been lost. In fact, it would be a seismic shift over the last many decades. And so with that, not only can it bring the artist closer with the fan closer to the artist, but we may well see entirely new types of music being generated, because some people have said that with the current economic model, it's actually created quite a bit of potential monotony in the music industry, that maybe actually a lot of the music has become entirely driven around economics. Whatever is actually working is what people produce. So here we see the opportunity for artists to reclaim their power, reclaim their financial independence and value, for the fans to share in that, and for everybody to benefit from entirely new types of music being generated.
Fantastic, and thank you for sharing. All right, guys, this would come to the end of this live session. Again, thank you guys for joining this session. And So to all the audience, make sure that you subscribe to our Binance Live account and do follow all the guests. So MetaBeat, ROCKI, Melody, and also Band Royalty on their social media, on Twitter, on their Discord. All right, guys. Before we wrap up, thank you again for joining us today, and hope you guys have a lovely day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Vincent.
Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Good night. Bye.